Looking at this video series of kids say the darndest things about money, we've looked at what kids say about what money is and the importance of money. We've looked at their definitions of from paper to it purchases things. And we've looked at the importance of the fact that a lot of kids realize that money pays for need-based. And we really discussed last time what wants-based are. And so I want to do this next video, and I'm really excited because I don't think I ever had a conversation about this. Like the idea of savings was something that it was like my parents just thought I was going to get it, but our savings account aren't seen. It's not necessarily that's out there that you do. It just kind of automatically transfers. So I'm really curious to see what kids around the world are saying about savings.
I'll just say this, and I have not seen this video. You should ask your kids this question and comment below on what they say. I'm just curious. Money is super taboo. And so I'm really curious to hear what they say because money, the kids pretty much got it spot on. Money buys things and all that stuff. Money's paper. But savings will be interesting to see what they say. When I worked at the bank, though, I got introduced to a ton of money behavior. And I realized that there's so many families that don't even talk to their spouses about this. Mm-hmm. So I think you can't do that long term and have a wealthy family because there's going to be somebody that messes it up. And so without further ado, let's see what the consensus is.
Yeah, and for those who are just tuning in, we've done 2 other ones, so we're going to watch it and then have a conversation after a little bit about our thoughts on it. So here we go.
I didn't know.
Okay.
To keep your stuff safe.
What stuff?
The coins and the dollars.
This is savings. I keep this with me, so wherever I go, I don't need to borrow money from everyone. I can just take out my own money and buy what I want.
Money is important because you need to use money to buy your school fees, buy food and water and other important stuff.
To get a piggy bank.
Method of saving includes putting money aside, example in a deposit account or investment fund.
If you save, you might have a lot of money and you can buy nice stuff.
If you don't save, you'd never have enough money to get that thing you want.
If your mommy gives you money, then she gives you more money. You can save that money, and if you want to do something big, you can take that money and do what you wanted to do all along.
Do I know?
I don't know. You still didn't know.
Yeah, poor kid.
Yeah, poor kid. All right. So there were some really interesting things on there.
Yeah. No, I don't think this is I think if you take a poll of every kid, you're not going to get these intelligent of answers.
And
that's
if you
just
notice, some of them were older and probably had more experience with it.
Yeah, I think the common theme is stuff, coin, buying nice stuff in the future. I think that's a common theme is like, someone said that they didn't want to be a borrower, that they can save for the nice stuff that they want. Someone said that save for things that you want. So I think it's this one word or a couple phrase. It's like delayed gratification. If you can teach your kids delayed gratification, not just in money, but in other areas of their life, they will be successful because welcome to a world where majority of people don't have that. So what I would teach your kids is the importance of delaying gratification. And what's the study that everyone quotes about the marshmallows?
It's the marshmallow one.
You ever do that with your kids?
I didn't need to. They couldn't do it with pizza if I
really
pizza there. I would know which child would.
Okay,
yeah.
I bet Bree would hold out.
She would. Yeah.
Tirza would be 2 pizzas in.
Yeah. Well, actually, it may be a little different. But what's really interesting to me too is one of the children, the younger one, said that savings meant protection. And to protect your coins. And, the concept of protecting and why you'd have to protect, that'd be really interesting to see because,
yeah, that's good.
Kids don't come in to seeing protection. And you're right, that future thing, that delayed gratification and that it's meant for the future. A lot of kids today in our society, because they're little, they're needs-based things that they have are met right away.
Yep.
Going to the bathroom. I mean, let's go now. I
Yep.
need to eat. You want them to eat. They need to sleep. They need to sleep now. When they're older, I want to go play with friends. It usually happens really quickly. And so teaching that delayed gratification is huge because when you're an adult, in order to save, you have to have
Yep.
that mindset of the future.
Yes. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what would you say your definition of savings is that somebody could take and have a good conversation with their kids about?
It's really a verb, or it's an activity of putting aside your resources. So we're talking about money, but you could save other things like, but let's just talk about money. So you're putting aside your resources for a future opportunity or a future emergency or a future event. And I think one of the kids said this really well is if you don't save up any money, you won't be able to buy the things that you want in the future. And so, yeah, savings is very much of a verb of putting money aside. And then you want to do that for two reasons. The defensive reason is you don't want to have to go into massive debt if something bad happens, and things happen. We're using the word things because it's a family-friendly show, but stuff happens. And so, number one, we want to be prepared for that. And there's a lot of diligence of having some money set aside. But then also, when I study a lot of wealthy individuals and companies, they all had the mindset of taking advantage of opportunities, investing in people or other opportunities like real estate or business ventures. And the only way that they could do that is they had resources, they had value that was stored up that they could use that value to purchase or take advantage of hopping on a plane, not having to worry about the plane ticket to go to this event, so that they could, translate that value. It's like, it's almost endless, but if you don't have any savings, you're really, the consequences of that, not just now, but in the future, are huge, especially when you tack on opportunity cost of what you're missing out of because you can't say yes to savings. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's the savings is really a verb of putting aside money for a future date, and that could either be defensive or offensive, and there's a lot of cost long term if you don't save. And so that's how I would describe it.
Yeah, that's a good middle school, high school for the 5-year-old. Do you think
Yeah. I'm not teaching any 5-year-olds anytime soon.
Do you think your jelly bean, the thing that your mom did, helped you guys at least learn that putting something aside and waiting until a particular point?
Yeah. One thing that my parents did really well is I saw firsthand they were very frugal. My dad, made very good money and drove a beater of a car and has never bought a new car and still drives a Ford Fusion. Mm-hmm. It's a nice car, but it's like all of his colleagues drive really, really nice cars, and at the end of the day, he doesn't value that. And so the point is, we grew up in a house of delayed gratification, and we didn't spend a lot of money, and so that definitely taught me. It was just teaching you to save money, but what my parents didn't really do a good job with is like show you how that translates into like opportunities or investments. It was more like, hey, be savers and do that, and I'm grateful for that, but it wasn't like they didn't teach me the why you want to save. Other than the fact that like college and saving for a car and stuff, it's just the difference between buying an asset and liability. And again, a 5-year-old, I don't know how to talk to 5-year-olds.
Well, and the experience part of it, when you'll learn in a long while, but is that our children, though, at that conversation, with my daughter Tirza, it's a matter of when she says she wants something, we have the ability to say, hey, we're really blessed with what we have. Do you remember that mommy and daddy, this is what we want to do? And so we're going to save that money for that. I think just having those conversations with your children, mm-hmm. allowing them to see that even you're making that decision, yep. and dialogue that decision. When we choose not to go out to eat, we have the dialogue with our entire family about why we go back home, use what we have, why we're frugal with that, and the goals of our family. Again, if you don't know how you want your family to live intentionally, those conversations are a little bit harder. But when you understand that conversation with your kids is great. And that modeling is a really good way to teach your children why savings would be important, and not just to buy the things they want, but how it can project to that intentional living that you would like for them and your entire family to have in the future.
Yeah. I'll just say one other thing, and this is again not for your 5-year-old, but something that for you to consider if your kids are, middle school, high school, is our family went to DC on a family trip, and we saved for that. But then the other thing that my mom had me do, because I was into like accounting and money, and she said, Caleb, you're going to keep track of every dollar that we spend. So every gas pump that we went to, I would get the receipt, write it down in a book. Every time we went out to eat, got a receipt, wrote it down. When we stayed at a hotel, got a receipt, wrote it down. And that was incredible. And so regardless of what you do, teach your kids, like explain why you do certain things. And if you can have them be involved in that, you're not only going to empower them, but you're going to, I remember like thinking about how we could save money because it was like a game for me. And it wasn't even my money, but it was one of those things that now that I was involved in my parents' financial situation as it relates to that trip. And it was one of those things where I'm just really grateful for.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for doing this mini series with us. Remember, we would love to see what your children have had to say about money, about why it's important, about savings. I think for you guys too at home that have littles from bigs, it will be a big eye opener to what the world is teaching them about money and how you hope to project their future of intentional living as well.